Hey everyone, so wrapping up our mental health awareness series, we have had such amazing and beautiful full conversations, and we thought that we would end it on an even more beautiful note with an amazing guest. So today we have with us Yasmine Jameelah. She's an entrepreneur, a journalist, and wellness advocate who creates healing spaces for the Black community through her organization, Transparent and Black. Yasmine has focused her journalism career on mental health awareness, the Black maternal mortality crisis, and body positivity. Through Transparent and Black, Yasmine hosts wellness events that prioritize breaking down the shame and guilt that's associated with the discussion of mental health within Black culture. We stand and advocates. We really do. Yasmine, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you today.
Thank y'all so much for having me.
Yes, thanks for being here. So Brittany gave a very robust, formal introduction as to who you are, but can you let our homegirls know just a little bit about yourself and how you got here, your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. What got me here is going to therapy. I started in undergrad. I was experiencing a lot of depression, and a lot of my friends were having the time of their lives in undergrad, partying, and super turned up. And my college experience was not like that at all. And starting therapy changed the course of my life. And it really allowed me to take my power back from a lot of things that I was experiencing at the time. And starting therapy liberated me. And I decided right before I graduated that I didn't want to be an attorney anymore because at the time I was studying to be a lawyer and that I actually wanted to write. And so, literally, the semester before I graduated, I was like, I want to be a writer. And thankfully, I had a family that supported it. My mom was like, whatever you want to do, what makes you happy, but you going back to school. And so I went back and, got my master's and became a journalist. And on the way to do that, I founded my first wellness brand, which is Transparent Black Girl, a space for Black women to heal and own power and ease into wellness. And then a few years later, Transparent and Black was born.
We love
Beautiful.
that. First of all, we
Thank you.
stand
A black mama.
a supportive
Yes,
mother. That
right?
that is so important. Like just
Yeah,
in all areas, but especially in an area like college. We get told so much that you need to go to school, pick a major that'll make you a lot of money, finish your
stick
degree.
with it.
Yes, and go on and make some coins. And then it's like, well,
Yes.
I don't really like any of these majors, mom. I need your support. So
Yes.
thankfully, you had a mother that was supportive of that. Um,
Yeah, all the way.
so in your writing, as a blogger, you have been so transparent. Like you started off being transparent. And I know that with this podcast, that's something that we've talked about so much, like the transparency and how intimidating it can be because once you put it out there, it's like you can't take it back. Whoever saw it. Whatever they think of you, they think of you. So, how did you feel like being transparent, sharing about your depression and the things that you were going through in your mental health journey? How was that for you?
There were days where I was super self conscious about it, but I also went through so much of an empowering moment where I realized there was something so important about taking that back. I grew up being like the girl that wished I was transparent, like wished I wasn't so transparent. I always wanted to be like those girls that were like super mysterious, right? And like you didn't know much about them, but that's just not my personality. I am an open book, and not even just in terms of like my life, but like you can see it in my face if I'm in a good mood, if I'm in a bad mood. Like it's just who I am. And so I really used to be ashamed of that and wish that I had a little bit more mystery to me. And the older I got, and in that particular point in college, I decided, like, you know what, I'm going to own it. And it was difficult at first, because again, like everybody was open to it. So like I was posting it on Facebook, on Instagram, whatever. And it was awesome because I cultivated a community with it, right? But we talk about like about Black folks in like our community, like everybody in my family wasn't like really here for it. They were like, do you really need to share this much? You need to really do this much? And now they're like, thank you, like 6 years later, and seeing that I've been able to build, an entire wellness brand in a community of, over 1,000 people, over 100,000 people who are, open to transparency and understanding that that is a part of, your wellness journey. So it was hard at first. And with the blog, I shared so much of what I was dealing with at the time. I was going through relationship trauma, family trauma, experiences of just healing from, just so much stuff that happened in college. My father was in prison for many years when I was in school. So it was a lot. It was a lot on me. And I think that we often feel like there is a certain type of person that goes through those things. And many people didn't feel like I fit that part because I grew up in the suburbs, because I, went to college and all the things that, like, those type of things don't happen to a person like me, but they did. And owning it, really gave me strength. And I've been able to, build such a beautiful life out of, something that was really painful.
Okay, come on, flex the quantitative data. She said 100,000. I'm like, yes, honey.
Get it
I
right.
Yes.
love it. I'm
Oh,
like, we
yes.
actually have this
Yes.
many thousand downloads. I'm here for it. I really admire just your ability to be transparent. Brittany mentioned it earlier, but that's such a struggle for us. And I think earlier, I feel like in the beginning, when you're starting a thing, right? For us, it's our podcast. For you, it was your blog. It feels easier to just show up and be like, girl, we just gonna talk about whatever. Ain't nobody listening to this. There's 5 people downloaded it, child. So let it rip. And then the more you start to see success, right? Success or engagement around your thing and the community grows, I feel like I start to withdraw a little bit. I start to go in and I'm like, hold on. Can't be talking about my nigga. Don't
Right.
want to talk
Don't
about
know who's
that. Can
listening.
yeah, hold
You're
on.
right. Yeah.
I'm not doing that. So my question for you is, how have you maintained your transparency and being the transparent Black girl, even as your community has grown, as it's gone into the hundreds of thousands of people who are now like, eyes are on you, girl. What's tea?
Yeah, so, I think between the platform growing and also just me growing as a person, and then even just as a woman in terms of age, because when I started, I was in my early 20s. Now I'm knocking on 30. It's like sometimes, like, I want to give Beyonce and, like, not share nothing, like, but I'm also like, but this is what you've built, right? And this is what's important to you. And especially in quarantine, because I actually went through some depression in quarantine. And from the outside, it was like I was doing all these things, getting all these opportunities. So people would think like, oh my God, like, you're doing amazing. But I was not. I was struggling. And it was hard to, like, decide what I was going to share, what I didn't want to share, wanting to, like, worry about, like, okay, well, like, what are brands that I'm working with going to think about, like, me sharing this much, or, whatever the case may be. I mean, even in dating, right? Now, like, people being able to go to your profile and see everything you got going on in your life. Like, no, so there is a lot of that, like, wondering what that balance is. And it's an everyday journey for me. Sometimes I still want to share a lot. And sometimes I'm like, the most transparent thing I can do is say I'm not in a place where I want to share right now. And transparency doesn't mean spilling all your tea. It just means being honest about who you are. And I think everyone has their own levels of what it is to be transparent. And you don't have to, be like the girl that's in a reel getting dressed for the day with you. Like that doesn't have to be your level of transparency. Maybe your level of transparency is like, I'm not in the best place right now. And that's okay.
I
Girl.
love that, personalizing the transparency, because people can think that one way of transparency is a way to be like, okay, she told us about her breakup, then she showed us when she got a new boo, and now we see her happy and thriving. And so maybe if I do that same thing, or maybe I should follow that formula. And it's like, that's not who you are. Like you mentioned before, you are just naturally very open and transparent. That's your personality. So it's not like you're trying to be something that you aren't. That's just who you are. And then when you feel like you
Yeah.
need to pull back some, you do so. So I appreciate that. But you mentioned the pandemic and feeling how you felt during that time, and I'm glad that you brought that up because the pandemic knocked us all off of our feet.
Yeah.
Okay, in one way or another,
It
we were
did.
shook.
It gave jump.
Yes,
It gave jump.
we were shook. We were caught off guard. We weren't expecting it. And when you're in one space like thriving, things are going as you expect them to go, and you're not expecting for what the pandemic brought to happen, that can really be jarring. So, what has changed for you in your mental health since the pandemic? Like, did your wellness routine switch up? You said you were dealing with some depression then. Like, what changed? Because I know that life changed for a lot of us due to this incident.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what has changed in my wellness routine is that I have gone out of my way to take care of myself. And before, I think when I was, in therapy and working out and just doing the regular things that I would do in my day, that I would do them. But now I adamantly, before I wake up, before I look at my phone, before I do anything else, I take care of me, I meditate, I read my scripture. Like, I'm not rushing through my day as I was doing before. And I'm just also just going out of my way again, like just to make sure that I'm okay. I'm more adamant about like mental health days, because prior to the pandemic, I was in grad school in the city every day, so there really wasn't that much time to like take a mental health day because I had a lot of stuff to do. So just being more adamant again, just like with that self checking to make sure I'm okay, and making sure that I communicate to the people around me that just because I am the mental health wellness girl, like within their family, within their ethos, within their life, that like I don't always have it together, and I need just as much support, for my mental health, as anyone else. So that's been important to me.
Girl, I love a mental health day. I'll call out on my job in a minute. She's actually not feeling well today.
Same,
It's
same.
giving mental health day.
Yes, I
It's
need
giving
I
mental
need
health
them.
day. So as you
Yes.
become more and more busy, right? And there's more and more of a demand on you to be this entrepreneur, the wellness advocate. What does work-life balance and or balancing self-care and work ethic look like for you?
Balancing self care and work and mental health for me, it looks like prioritizing myself, just again, like going out of my way to prioritize myself, and not just self care, but like radical self care. I think that we all, like, when the self care trend started, right? It was this like self care Saturday, self care Sunday thing, right? And cool, like it's a good thing to be intentional in that way. But then where does radical self care fall in? Where does, like, what, this particular thing that happened in my day, it kind of threw me off, and I need to like pivot for, if even if I don't have the whole afternoon, maybe I have 30 or 40 minutes to go and meditate. And that's something that I started doing in the pandemic. I started to make sure that, like, even if I was home, working from home, as a lot of us are now, that, I would make sure that I was done with work by the time, before the sun went down, so I could go upstairs on the roof and meditate and like feel my face in the sun, or, like working out outside more, which is something I've been trying to do, now that allergy season is, slowly going away, being outside more, and just exposing myself to, just different things, being around my friends more, when I can, especially now that it's getting, a little safer, because again, like, isolation is not always good for us mentally, especially when you think about community and how so many of us we're raised around community and in community. And so to no longer have that, it's difficult. So I've been trying to do a combination of those things.
I love that. You really have to be intentional. I recently switched my work schedule because I felt like I didn't have that much balance in my life. I just felt like I'm at work from this time to this time. When I get home, child, it's dark. I'm trying to, I'm rushing. So I feel it. And the radical self care piece is so important because we do think of self care like, girl, I'm going to get a massage. I'm going to get a little facial. And it don't be that.
It
It
doesn't.
really don't. It's not that. It has to give more.
Yeah, like, for example, yesterday, Germany and I, we had to, come to the studio early in the morning to record, and we were planning on going to a day party afterwards, which can be self-care, right? We're gonna dance, we're gonna shake a little ass, have a couple of cocktails, and then go home,
Right.
but we were talking, before we went, and Germany was like, do you really feel like going today? And I'm like, I'm not really that moved. And we decided we're not gonna go. And then that was self-care, honoring
Yeah.
ourselves, not feeling like, okay, we definitely gotta go to the function. We're gonna miss something. We said we were gonna go. Self-care looks like whatever you need to do to take care of yourself in that moment. It's not always the cookie cutter way that the way the whites present it. It's
Yeah.
whatever it looks like for you. So
Yes. Yes.
definitely here
Absolutely.
for the radical self-care.
Right.
Yeah.
Um so, a part of your work is creating spaces for healing and wellness for marginalized communities, right? Marginalized groups. So, what does an ideal healing space for the Black community look like for you? Like, what would it entail? Because I know what it looks like for me. So, I want to know what it looks like for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the ideal healing space that I think the Black community needs hasn't been created yet. And that's what Transparent and Black is looking to build. So when I think about what a healing space looks like for us, I think about the ways that we have been traumatized and the different things that we have been barred access to. So Transparent and Black is currently raising funds to open the first Black owned wellness studio with trauma informed swim classes, access to doulas and therapists. And so for me, when I started to look at what are the ways that Black people have been systemically left out of wellness and just out of just certain things that for so many other people and other races are a basic need, right? And so that is, doulas and midwives, that we don't even have to go into all the statistics of, the Black maternal mortality rates and how Black women are 3, 4 times more likely to die in childbirth than so many other women. And then even what happens when we go home, with all the formula shortages and everything going on right now, that's a whole other thing. And then also therapists, with it being Mental Health Awareness Month, that's for so long we looked at therapy as something that made us weak because we weren't allowed to be vulnerable. And then swimming is a basic life skill, but so many statistics show that that in children and the rates that children die, and what is something most common that children die from is swimming, and Black children are on the top of that list. And so I asked myself and just asked my team as we were building, what does it look like to create a real intentional healing space for us? And that's what we're looking to build. So right now, the healing space that I want to see for our community, where we can grow and have really intentional conversations and have therapists that help us, and have group therapy sessions on different types of experiences that only impact people like us. It's not there yet, and that's what we're working to do.
And that's why we need you.
Yeah,
That
because
is why
Thank
we
you.
need you. As soon as you said swimming, child, I say yes, because I am a Black who cannot swim.
I raised my hand too
I
inside.
am
I
too
said
one who
that was
cannot
very
swim.
intentional because we do need to heal that swimming
Yeah.
that swimming
Don't
Wound.
wound.
That swimming wound, child. It's fragile.
I be
It's
in the
raw.
boat wanting to have a little Sunday fun day, and I'm like, the boats look cool. I want to dive in, but I'm just gonna be cute sitting
Life
on.
jacket on. You don't know
Yeah,
how many times I've been out. That boat gets to rock, and I said, y'all can sit in here with no vest, but me, as for me and my body, I will be in a vest, because if this bitch goes down, I'm gonna be floating.
yes,
Okay, it's not
And
giving
I am the
Titanic.
Black girl that is like, hey y'all, record me. I'm jumping in. I don't need a vest. I don't need a nothing. And my friends are like, okay, girl, you do you.
Girl, I will boomerang you all day. I will be like, go. It's now. Go, go, go. No, I love that. I love that.
yes,
Also seeing you held the led a guided meditation at Coachella. Amazing.
yes,
Congratulations.
Thank
We
you. Thank
love
you.
Coachella. We are Coachella girls
we
being
are.
here in LA. We go every year. So that is beautiful. But we've been touching on therapy, and you also mentioned therapy as being one of those spaces for, the community. In the past, you mentioned, or previously said, that you had some difficulty talking about therapy with your homegirls, and just like, tapping into that. What is your conversations with your friends now around therapy or your mental health? What does that look like for you?
I am now the resident person for everyone in my life, is pretty much to find a therapist. And I've been that for a while. And something is now that I take with pride, because again, I've been in therapy almost 6 years at this point. So to, for half a decade, have done this work and have people that look to me for resources, it's an honor. And I am now the person that they come to talk to about therapy. In the beginning, it wasn't like that. I was like the girl that was like, oh yeah, Yaz is in therapy. Like it was not a thing that people understood, but now they're like, wow, like you're in such a different place. And not that your life is perfect when you start therapy, right? But being intentional about that work has really allowed for me to have a different perspective, to develop a deep sense of self-awareness, and to really assess a lot of things that I thought I was going to therapy for really were not the things that I was going to therapy for. They were just the tip of the iceberg of wounds and issues that had been there since childhood.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on that, and I feel like I'm so thankful that the talk around therapy is becoming more normalized. Like, I have a therapist, my mom has a therapist. Even when my 16-year-old sister was having some issues, my mom scheduled her a therapy appointment, and I'm like, yes, queen, go before,
Yeah.
and let's get these youth healed because
To raise them up.
there's so many kids that can benefit from having a therapist. And just think about like years back when parents would be like, you don't have nothing to cry about. Everything you need is provided for. You have a roof over your head. You have clothes on your back. What is your problem? Fix your face, or I'll give you something to cry
Right. Yeah, I
about.
hate that
And
one.
it's like, actually, no, I need some healing. You're making it worse. So,
You brought more trauma.
yes,
It's really great to have people who are open and honest about their journey with therapy, because once it seems scary and daunting initially, but once you see somebody get on the other side of it, then it's like, oh, it's doable. I can totally do it. So, you're being that in the community, you're being that in your family, your
Yes.
mother, pillars,
Yes.
pillars is giving pillars,
Yes.
Yes.
cornerstones.
And that's what we're here for.
Yes.
So Yasmine, what are some of like your favorite mental health resources, your go-tos when you feel like, okay, these are my things. These are the tools in
In my
my toolkit.
toolkit.
Yes. So the things in my toolkit that I use for mental health. Well, first I'll say that there are a lot of resources that people can use. I know often, people journal if they're feeling, overwhelmed, or, like practice affirmations, put them on their wall, different things like that. Those personally are not the things that I like to do. I like to write things down though. I am very much so a iNotes girl. So I write a lot of things down in my iNotes and I go back and look at them. I'm working on writing things at times on the wall if I need them, but a clean aesthetic honestly helps me mentally. So I am not a person that likes a whole bunch of stuff around my house, but I do also often walk thoughts back. That is something that one of my best friends, who's a therapist and who is also one of the resident therapists for Transparent and Black, her name is Stacy Caesar. Hi, Stace, if you see this. And one of the things that she talks to me about, and often people in our community when we do lives talking about mental health, is walking thoughts back and asking ourselves like, okay, well, let's walk this back and decide like where this thought is coming from, who it belongs to. Is this something that someone told you? Is this an experience that you feel like has defined you, or is it something that you feel about yourself? And so often when I'm having a thought that's negative, or a thought that just feels foreign to the core of who I really am, I take time and walk those thoughts back with myself and have conversations. And that is something that has truly helped me, because oftentimes we can be in our head about things, right? And we can, have these, there could be one incident that you have where someone says something about you and then you walk away and years later you feel like it's a part of your identity when it really isn't. It's just like this, you've had this one encounter with someone and then later on you feel like it's a part of who you are, and when those thoughts don't even belong to you. So I'm really adamant about walking those thoughts back and then reminding myself like every thought that comes to my head, I don't have to take it with me. I don't have to take every painful moment with me. And then I can just put some things down. Like I don't have to carry those things with me all the time. And a lot of times affirmations don't help with that particular thing, but it's just me reminding myself like the moment a thought comes in my head, you don't have to play this back. You don't have to, find yourself stuck there again. You can really release that.
I think that's some great advice. I'm going to be walking a few thoughts back.
Yeah, I love that one. I said, let me add that one to my toolkit.
Yeah, that one we're actually going to add.
Yeah.
Yasmine, you are doing such amazing work. We're so grateful that you are here and that you exist. Let our girls and our community know what it is that you have going on and where to find you on the interwebs.
Yeah, absolutely. So they can find me at Instagram at Yasmine Jameelah, across all social media platforms. And they can, from there in my bio, you'll find Transparent and Black, which is our collective, and our collective for Black women, Transparent and Black Girl, which is our brand for us, and our wellness brand for Black men, Transparent Black Eye.
There you go.
All the
All the
transparency
resources. Transparent Black Girl is definitely in my toolkit as well. I frequent your page. I love the aesthetic. I love the
aesthetics on point.
message.
Oh, thank
I love everything
you.
in there. So get over there. You guys will love the work that Yasmine is doing. Yasmine, we thank you so much for joining with us today and sharing your story. And again, like Germany said, we appreciate the work that you're doing for the community.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, girl.
Okay, Yasmin. So we have a few additional questions for you. We saw that you are a part of McDonald's Future 22 program, which is amazing. Congratulations on that.
Yeah,
Thank
congratulations.
What does
you.
that mean to you to be a part of that, to be recognized as a part of that program?
Oh man, it means so much. First, McDonald's has been a big part of my life since I was a kid. Of course, like I know all of us, especially in the Black community, we would hear like, "Do you have McDonald's money?" and stuff like that. Whenever you would ask to go to McDonald's, right? But I was actually in McDonald's Gospel Fest as a kid, so to be a part of that and to now, be a part of McDonald's Future 22, it means so much. McDonald's has done a lot of work in the Black community, even going back to like 365 Black and all the different work that they've done. So it means a lot to be a part of that, and it just shows me again how much it shows that through hard work, you can, people will be able to notice your work, people that you never thought would. So I'm super excited about it.
Yes. Okay, so game changer, a verb. Let's give me a verb to do. What does it mean to you to be called a game changer?
Yeah, being a game changer, it means that you are, taking up a mantle for whatever it is that's important to you and, getting to work about that, what it means to like change the game for something, right? And I truly believe that the work Transparent and Black is doing is really changing the game of wellness. So I'm super excited to be included in this, this campaign. And not even just myself, there's so many other amazing Black people that are a part of this campaign. And I'm just honored to, be one of them.
You're right about that. You're in great company and really looking forward to what you all do. So how do you actually hope to inspire change as a part of Future 22?
I hope to inspire change as a part of Future 22 by showing people that it's okay to, advocate for mental health and ultimately just heal from trauma, like making that something that's cool, like just like it's cool to, to hang out with your friends. It is cool to heal from trauma and go to therapy and, explore self work. And, while life is not about, just focusing on trauma, right? It's also, important to make sure that we add taking care of your mental health as a part of like just what you do in the morning, like drinking water, taking vitamins, going for a walk, exercising, like including your mental health and wellness regimen as a part of something that you do on the regular. So super super honored again that McDonald's thought of me as someone that they felt was really passionate about doing this work.
Yes, they got the best and the baddest. So, McDonald's, honey. I know I love a McDonald's apple pie,
Same.
Sprite, high C orange. It hits different. What is your go to McDonald's item on the menu, and tell me why?
My go-to McDonald's item is actually not available in a lot of places. So I was actually talking to one of my cousins about this the other day that lives in Philly. The steak, egg, and cheese bagel. Like that's like a throwback was my thing growing up for breakfast. And it came back to Philly. And I was asking my mom, like, why is it back in Philly? And she was like, girl, it's a big Muslim population. They're probably not eating bacon for breakfast. And I was like, you're right. And so my cousin is coming to see me this weekend, and I literally text her like, "Bring me a steak, egg, and cheese bagel like when you come here for breakfast." So that is my all-time favorite thing for breakfast. When they got rid of that, I was very sad. McDonald's people, like, bring that back to New Jersey, please, because these trips to Philly, they're a little they're a little inconvenient. But so that is like all-time favorite thing of my childhood, and I can't wait to have it on Saturday.
Yes,
I was gonna say, you know how they have the special like meals that they're doing with Travis Scott, and they did it with Saweetie. Maybe we'll have a Yasmine Jameelah meal, and it'll be the
you know,
steak, egg, and
mm,
cheese bagel. Like, girl, can I
I'm
get the
like,
Yasmine Jameelah?
call me y'all. I'm ready.
run it up.
Yes. So, Yasmin, can you let our listeners know where we can learn more about Future 22?
Yes, absolutely. So you can learn more about Future 22 at on Instagram at We Are Golden, and you can also go on YouTube and look at Future 22 as well. The entire campaign is narrated by Kiki Palmer, so I'm also excited about that too. It was so cool to watch it in totality and to see it. My first thought when I was watching was like, not Kiki Palmer saying my name, like it was such a cool thing. So that's where you can learn more about the entire campaign and all the amazing people that are part of it.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that information with us, Yasmin. If you all are interested, you know where to go.
Yes, thanks, girl.
You're welcome.